even with this Department of Justice memo requesting that the federal corruption case against the mayor be dropped, the case could still come back, or there's a chance that it could be tried in another venue. As far as a federal prosecution, for now, that seems to be in the hands of President Trump. There's a lot to unpack here legally. Criminal defense attorney and former Manhattan District Attorney, Assistant District Attorney Jeremy Saland is with us. Jeremy, thank you for spending some time with us this morning.
My pleasure.
When you saw that DOJ letter last night, what did you read into it from a legal perspective?
There's a lot to unpack, and I wish we were not sitting in front of a TV because I might be a little bit more candid as to the legal foundation of this and the sort of merits of it. But this is really a situation where Donald Trump or his number two in the Department of Justice is relying on things attacking Biden, releasing the merchant of death. What place does that have in a application or motion eventually to dismiss a case? This is well above and beyond. And to the point of one of your folks just moments ago, it's without prejudice, which is somewhat atypical, but basically keeping the mayor on his short hairs a little bit of control. It's not on the merits. It's not because they're saying that the evidence isn't there. Now, very well, the mayor may not be guilty, but there is a process. There is a due process. There is something that plays out in a court of law. This is not how it's done, and it should send very real concerns to everybody, because now we have a blueprint going forward of how to avoid prosecution under the federal government over the next 4 years. Do potentially the president's bidding and agree with him, and you may get a pass, merit or not. It's very disturbing.
We have heard again, though, about the weaponization of the justice system, the politicization of the Justice Department. You think this is out of step with that?
Well, I think it's consistent with the alleged weaponization and proof positive, Exhibit A now under Donald Trump's administration, that politics and maybe the weaponization the opposite way, or the shielding, if you will, it can happen if you do what he wants and you are a person who he wants to be in a place of power. You know, think about it for a moment. The number of people in the media or other elected officials who have criticized Donald Trump. If someone is charged now, one of us, with some sort of criminal wrongdoing, do we say, wait a second, Department of Justice, there's a motion here, there's an application here, we didn't approve of your policies. This is a political witch hunt against us, because that's what this is really alleging here. But the bottom line is the judge is really in no place to stop this from happening. And this is going to proceed whether or not ultimately the Manhattan DA's office picks something up, or the Brooklyn DA's office, if they can pick something up. They are not necessarily precluded because of this dismissal to proceed on double jeopardy grounds against whatever they believe is relevant, a bribery-related offense or campaign finance.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Is there a path for prosecution in a state jurisdiction that would stay away from this Trump directive?
Yeah, absolutely. And remember, for people who are not aware, a president can pardon on a federal case. A governor has that same authority on a state case. So if a case were to proceed criminally against anyone, the president has no power to alter that on the state level from, for example, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. But there's nothing constitutionally, there's nothing in our state statute in terms of double jeopardy that would preclude. Why is that? There's not a conviction. A jury has not been sworn. A witness has not been sworn. There's not been a plea. So theoretically, this case, if the elements can be met and the evidence is there, can move forward on a state matter.
Jeremy, just on a personal level to finish up here, you've been a prosecutor. There is almost a righteousness among prosecutors that we are here for the people. We're not here to pick a political side. How did you feel about that when you saw this?
I think if I was in that seat, I'd be indignant, I'd be hurt, I'd be angry. We've already heard from this government that they're targeting or going after FBI agents and prosecutors, anyone who was involved in the investigation of Donald Trump. We hear from some of these clowns, and I'm going to use that term without hesitation, saying, let's go after judges because we don't believe in what they are doing in terms of opposing the administration's policies. What's next? This is terrible. Everyone has a right. Everyone has a right, and there's a belief in their non-guilt and innocence until if and when proven guilty. But there is a process. Mayor Adams very well may be innocent and not guilty, but this was not the way to get there. And it's really, truly disgusting and should upset anybody, whether you're in a courthouse or outside doing your thing, doing something else.
Jeremy Saland, thank you.
My pleasure.